Well, it looks like we're live. I thought I would work on the compiler a bit, making a new pass in the compiler. And I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but I think what I'd like to do is make an interpreter or make a compiler to produce an internal representation that we can just run through our own VM. I'm not sure how that's going to work. This is very much an experiment. So yeah, I don't even know where to begin with this. I think pass4 should go away in this case, I think, or at least it wouldn't be used. How could I do this? So pass4 is all about generating C++ code. So if we wanted to run bin Natalie, maybe interpreter P1, I want to do something different with the compiler. So dp3. You can't get P4, can you? Kind of can. Well, that's interesting. P3. What if in the compiler RB, instead of pass4, we did something, what if we had a pass4 V for VM? I don't know, V. I just sat down on my computer and look who started streaming. Yeah, I'm trying this again. My first stream, I was so nervous and it felt so weird. I think this time I'm just gonna just go with the flow. Just almost pretend like no one's watching, which is a weird feeling. I almost feel like I have to act differently when someone's watching, and that's I don't think that that's the point of live streaming. I think it's to just be yourself. I don't know. Pass4V or I for interpreter. I think I like that. So if we have a pass4 and we save this as pass4I, and then we just strip out pretty much everything. I'm not sure what we're going to call that. I'm not sure what we'll need here. We definitely don't need any of that. That can all go away. This is going to be compile for our interpreter VM. I don't know if that's like a good thing to call that, interpreter VM. So I'm going to call it for now. Pass4I. Actually, don't even need that yet. So how you doing, Valtteri? And I know I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sorry. Pass4I. So well, let's just see what happens if I wire that up. Bin Natalie. And I make an option for interpret. I don't have a lowercase I command line option yet, so that's cool. So let's make I, and do we do long option first and then short? I forget how this works. Glad to be home. Always nice to be back home after traveling. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you can put them in any order. Plan is to hack away on projects this week and go back to work on Monday. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Interpreter. Okay. Let's see. Interpret Ruby code instead of compiling it. And then this is going to be interpret is true. I don't need that. Okay. And then in the compiler, I think I want to do something with that option. I don't remember. Options come in through here. Where do we use those options? We'll just do def interpret options interpret. Why is my autocomplete not working? Okay. So that's if we're going to interpret, and then pass for, we want to do something different. If interpret, then we're going to do pass for I, and that will return what? We need to do something else, because transform. Where do I call that? Oh, do I call that from Ben Natalie? Probably do. No? Interesting. Misspelled interpret there in line 129. Oh, thank you. Interpret. Haha. Thank you very much. Good catch. If file exists, where do I call that? Transform. It's probably going to be the first live stream I spend time on. Oh, well, thanks, Jason. Appreciate that. Transform. I feel stupid when I don't remember. Oh, I see. So we call 2C. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. So I need to do something different. So we're not going to write a file. Oh, this has so many, excuse me, so many assumptions baked in that we're writing C code. We don't want to write a file either. So all of this is going to change, I think. Compile. I just realized, for anyone joining the stream, you have no idea what I'm working on. I think people do something on their streams to like give a clue. Maybe in the title, I could edit the title or something. Yeah, let's try that. Let's see if that works. Live stream. Working on an interpreter. I don't know. I'll just put that in there. Tell me if you can see that in the title. Working on an interpreter. Stream settings. Yeah. Could put up a string on screen with OBS or just explain it clearly in the description. Yes. I might have to work on that for next time. So anyway, Ishwar? Hey, how's it going? Compile. So what calls, oh good, the title updated, thank you very much. Compile. So what calls compile? We call it here, and we call it here, and we call it here. That is all perfect. Except this is going to be different. Oh man, so many assumptions I got to change. Is a VM you're writing from scratch? Yes. Yes, I haven't written one line of code for the VM yet. So this is from the very beginning. I don't know how much we'll get done today. If I can just get it to print the number 1, I think I would be very happy. That's my goal. To be clear, we already have a compiler. We compile this to C++ and execute it, and that's all working. But there's some things I'd like to be able to do at runtime, and so this is just an experiment. Just an experiment to see if it's feasible to change our multi-pass compiler, which has 4 passes, pass 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I swap out the final pass, which is pass 4, and I swap it out for one that doesn't generate C, but instead generates our own internal sort of VM instruction set, then we could build a VM. So I guess at this point, my goal really is to have it do this, and then say P4. So part of the problem is this doesn't show me the right thing. What does -d do? Oh, it shows me the C++. That's right. So I guess -d should produce our internal instruction set, our fake VM instruction set. So if I could get that to work, that would be a good first step. So where does -d debug CPP? I believe that's what this is doing. So there's another assumption that there's some CPP here. Print generated C++ or internal VM instructions. Oh, see, that's dumb. Maybe I'm getting too in the weeds here. Pass 3, pass CPP. See, if you don't pass, if you don't pass an option, you get CPP. What can we call that? It needs to be. I'm just going to leave it CPP for now because I don't even know what to call that. That's fine. So if debug is set to CPP, which is either -d by itself or -d CPP, then I recently rewrote parts of the C array asset loading code, and that 1.2 had a zillion assumptions in there that I'd only ever run that once at runtime. Yeah. I mean, sometimes assumptions are fine, right? I mean, it allows you to make progress. And there's no way I would have anticipated that I would ever do this, so it's fine. I'm just having to work around them. Oh, wow. Reworking it to accept partial asset settings updates actually reduce the code amount. Well, that's always a happy ending. It's nice. It's nice when things work out. So if I do interpret here, man, I'm just really struggling with what is the next step, because I wouldn't be writing a file. Would I be writing a file? So I kind of want to change this code a little bit. Well, I'm just going to put an if. You know what? We're just going to do options, interpret, then do something else, do this other code. And I know this is going to be gross, but I can come back and refactor that later. Oh my goodness. I just hate the spam. I hate it. I hate it. Gross. Just disgusting. Okay, so if it's interpreted, then what I want you, compiler, to do is to just print out the instructions. Okay, so that's the code I want to work. Now let's go write it and make sure it does work. Now did we, okay, so write file. Am I typing that wrong? There we go. Write file. So this does the 2C thing. Let's just make a new one called instructions. Ishwar is like a therapy session for you? Oh, I don't know if I am qualified to give you therapy. But it is nice sometimes to watch people code, I think, especially when they struggle with stuff and you go, oh, it's not just me. Instructions. So this is where I think we need to kind of mimic what's going on here. 2C, expand macros, AST, and then transform the AST. Transform. So I want to do the same thing, but instead of calling this 2C, let's call this, and it's not even right, it's CPP. I don't know, that's like a really old name. That was back when Natalie was written in C. How would you describe the Hacker News front page experience now that you've had it? This is actually the second time I've been on a Hacker News. I had an open source project many years ago that was also on Hacker News, so I was already ready for it. There's just a lot of people who they're very unfiltered, and this is the same with any comment system online, right? Is that you forget, and I do this too, I'm sure, you forget that there's a person on the other end who's going to be reading the comment. It kind of feels like you're just shouting at nothing, and it's easy to forget that there are people. So I don't know. Maybe I just need to develop some thicker skin. But yeah, people, and a lot of people were nice. To be fair, there were a lot of people who said, "Hey, this is pretty cool. This reminds me of this other project," or and I think there were a lot of people who just clicked it and checked it out, and we got a lot of GitHub stars from that. So to me, that says cool. Cool project, bro. But yeah, reading some of the comments, especially I think Walter Bright, a guy who created the D compiler, and nothing he said was really wrong, but it hurts, but that's okay. I'm over it. It's in the past. Andreas said, like he said on his stream, he said, you got to take the good with the bad, and the good is that we got some exposure, and I think that's pretty cool. So who not just people are very frustrating. Who not just? Oh, why not just? Yeah, they missed the point. Hacker News struggles to understand anything that's not done for profit. Yeah, no, that's very true. People they really don't understand. I'm just doing this for fun, for learning. I mean, there is the hope someday that this could become something really cool that other people use. But if it only ever resulted in me learning how, dozens of ways not to write a compiler, and I do end up finding the one good way, I'm okay with that. And I think that's still a fun experience. So hello, glad to catch you live. I'm Mustafa. Thanks for dropping by. Ishwar said it feels good to see someone coding a VM. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we'll get there, but we'll try. New subscriber from I came to know about you from Andreas's video. I have a question though. Do you prefer Vim over something like JetBrains or VS Code? I've just been using Vim for a long time, and I've tried different IDEs. I haven't really given them a fair shot because I feel like Vim is really fast and gives me everything I need. If I fiddle with it long enough and install the right plugins, then I have everything I need. Except the other day I did need to do a bunch of renames. I renamed almost every class in our whole project, and I think some refactoring tools from an IDE would have really helped, because I ended up writing a bunch of sed scripts, which were kind of error prone. I don't know if anyone remembers like trying to write code back in the day before Git, but I was really thankful for Git, because I would run these sed scripts and it would replace a whole bunch of stuff, and I'd have to do a Git checkout again because it was overzealous and renamed the wrong thing, and just having Git was imperative for that. Yuval says, hey Yuval, how's it going? So yeah, we're up to 9 concurrent viewers. That's pretty cool. You love VMs. Well, let me see if I can actually get some progress here. Sorry, I get sidetracked. I like reading the chat. I think that's a lot of fun. So I'm really struggling with this 2C thing. I hate that it's called 2C. I'm just going to ignore that it's called 2C. So let's just copy this down here. This is just an experiment, so it's okay if we have some duplicated code and things aren't quite PR worthy. That's okay. We're just gonna make something work here. So I still want to expand the macros. I think that's fine, and I still want to do transform. So is that literally? Yeah, I'm just gonna rename this instructions, and then we get rid of that. Instructions. So that calls transform, and transform is going to do the pass for I, which is our interpreter pass. So does this actually work at all? And I know that is misnamed, but that's okay. So what do we get here? Undefined local variable or method 2C, compiler line 70. So I'm still calling write code. Did I not save this? Probably didn't. 70, okay. Where are you coming from? 129. But I did, I misspelled this, interpret. What about Rust? Any plans to write stuff in it? I've used Rust before. It's really a cool language. I think that for me, I need to spend a lot more time with Rust before I could ever use it in something like this, especially in public. I don't know how I feel about it. Rust is awesome, and I think if I worked in Rust professionally, I think I could get really good at it. If someone paid me to learn Rust, I feel like in a year's time I could be proficient in Rust. Problem is, I'm doing this for fun, and Rust's learning curve is just huge. And I'm not there yet. Maybe someday I'll feel comfortable enough with it. But the last project I did with Rust, it took me 10 times longer than anything else. So that's kind of off the table for me for a little while. Sorry about the question, but I am not sure if you have answered it. How did you get into building Natalie? What was the main motivation? For Natalie, the motivation was I needed a project. How do I say this? So I did a sabbatical from work. I took a month off, and I thought I wanted to build a business. And make extra, make money, make lots of money, right? So I worked on it for a month. I built a React app, like a mobile app, React Native mobile app. And I built a Ruby on Rails backend for the API, and I worked on that for a month. And at the end of the month, I was miserable. I didn't end up launching the app. I won't get into what it did because it's not important. The important part was that I thought I knew what I wanted to do for fun, and I thought that it was making money. And after that month off, I felt like I had wasted my time. I felt like that was a wasted month. And when I thought back to what I wish I would have done during that month, it would have been this. It would have been Natalie. And at that time, it didn't have a name. It was just, I want to build a compiler. Like, I don't even know what it will turn into. In the beginning, it was just, I wanted to compile a Ruby-like syntax into C and see if I could get it working. And let me back up. That was something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I had put it off because I thought that was stupid. It can't make money. I can't, probably not going to get it like a job with it. It just didn't make any sense. But after I'd spent the month trying to build a business and build this app that I hated, and I'd felt like I wasted my time, I realized I don't care about making money. I don't care about having, I have a job, so that's fine. I have security and I can pay the bills. That's fine. But I realized I didn't care about making a lot of money, extra money, or having a business of my own. I just wanted to build things that were fun, and so that's kind of where this was born. I was on a plane ride to a conference for work and just started coding a little parser for a Ruby-like syntax and compiled it to C. And I had a puts hello world. I had it working in pretty short order, and it was thrilling. It was awesome. It was so fun. And I just kept going with it. And every spare moment I had, I kept working on this little compiler. And I eventually switched to C++ because it mapped more closely to what we were building with the Ruby syntax, the Ruby semantics, that is, of classes. because the C++ classes mapped pretty closely to the Ruby classes and the class hierarchy. So that's why I chose C++, and I don't know, the rest is history. It's been a lot of fun, and I've had 1,000 times more fun doing this than anything else, than I ever would have trying to make a business out of some viral mobile app that, I didn't really want to build it. I just thought that I should because, it's the responsible thing to do, is to make lots of money, right? Well, I think I realized I don't really care. I don't really care about that. I just want to pay the bills, and I have a day job for that. And in my spare time, I want to build something fun and learn. So I don't know. Really long answer. I hope that answered a little bit. So you made a compiler your hobby project. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's a hobby project, and it's a lot of fun. I've noticed in my development experience, whenever I started a project with money in mind, it went terrible. Yeah, I mean, that's what I learned the hard way. But when you do have something to learn, it's the best thing ever. Yeah. So good. Good thoughts, Michael. Will the Z80 project continue? I haven't really played with that lately. That was a fun project. There's a video about me using Joshua Stein's Wi-Fi module for the Z80 little, what's that called, mail station. That was fun. You guys should check that out if you haven't. But I am horrible at hardware, and I don't know. I'm just having so much fun with Natalie. I'm just going to keep going with it. Okay, well, here we go. So what happened here? I have no idea. It ran through the interpreter. What in the world? So let's do, that's weird, right? Let's do this with a PP, which is a pretty print. No. What? Oh, I did that thing again. Okay, so that's what it actually looks like. It was just stripping off all of the array syntax. That makes sense. So this, I think this is the same as the AST that was produced by pass3. Why don't you, that works, right? Oh, interesting. Compiler RB line 70 2C. Oh, right. So I don't know why you'd be calling that. Instructions, we'll call this CPP. Okay, so let's try that. And is there any other place we call 2C? We call it here. Instructions. I think this just triggers compilation. I think that's the only reason we have that, because it's just for the side effects. I'm just gonna put that there. 2C. Okay, now are you happy? So because I'm new here, do you already have a Natalie bytecode? No, we don't have a Natalie bytecode. We have just gradually more manipulated AST. So we manipulate the AST with pass1, then pass2, pass2R, pass2B, pass3, pass4, and then we end up with a string of C++ code. We don't have any bytecode or any really instruction set because we haven't needed it yet. So that's what I'm working on now. Okay, so that's pass3, which should look. Let's do this. Pass3 should look exactly like this, right? Because we haven't done anything with it. Perfect. So now I can go back to pass4i, pass3. One of these has what I need. Pass1. It's like strict, warn on default true, default method. I think I want all of these. Oh no, pass4. Base pass? Where is that? Default method. Oh, why is that in the default? Fascinating. Process sexp. Warn on default false. Strict true. I think I do want it to be strict. And I want no default method. Pass4i. and that's in the initialize. Maybe strict true, require empty fall. I'm not sure about that. One on default. True, and actually want this to be nil. Okay. A specific music genre. No, I don't think so. I listen to all kinds of stuff. What's the symbol lookup window? That is called telescope, and it has a bunch of options. So if I hit space J T for tags, it does searches for tags. If I do space J F for files, there's also actions, and I think I even made like a, oh, there it is. If I hit question mark, it'll show me actions, buffers, definitions. So if I look, I'll have to go to some C code. I don't think it works in Ruby. But if I go to string object CPP and I go to a function name and I hit definition, JD for definition, it jumps back and forth between the header and the file, which is pretty cool. Or the compilation unit between the CPP and the header. So I have G for grep, R for references. So I can look at references of Nextcare to see all the places that Nextcare is called. And tree sitter, which I just added recently. I haven't used that though. I think that just shows all of the things, symbols, I don't know what you call them, variables and functions and parameters in the current file. That could be useful in coding. Yeah, I don't know. I just added that recently and I haven't found a use for it yet, but could be fun. Could be fun. Now I've pass for I. There we go. So what's going to happen if I run this through there? Wrong number of arguments given 0, expected 1. That is because in the compiler, no, it's right there. Context go AST. Pass, base pass? No. What are you complaining about? Line 4. Line 4 in the base pass. Base pass? 4. Fascinating. 4I, number 8. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can call super, that's fine. And that means I don't need this. I don't need this. I'm just going to change those few things. Okay, undefined method process block. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I want to process a block. Process block. Let's just print it out and see what do we get. No. So this is what the block looks like. And I guess this isn't a Ruby block. This is just a block of code, just multiple lines of code or multiple expressions. So I think we just want to loop over each item. How do we handle that in pass4? Block, process. Oh, I should use that tree sitter thing. Process, block. There it is. Ah, I used it. Block, body 2, So I'll probably need the same type of code here. So it looks like we loop over everything in the block except the last item, and then we return the last expression from the block. That makes sense. If context size is 1, we're not going to have context yet, so this can probably go away. And I don't even need the temporary variable anymore. So something like that. Okay, now what do we get? Process var alloc. Okay, var alloc. Let's just ignore that for now. We'll say to do. Okay, process send. Okay. Let's just look at that again. So we've handled this one. We are ignoring that one for now. This one will be handled, and now we're at send. So we want to generate some sort of instruction. And so we get to decide what our instructions look like. Do we want them to be, I think we want them to be objects of some sort. So let's do this. So this is the compiler. Let's make a directory called instructions. And we'll make a file called base instruction. Module Natalie, class compiler, class base instruction. And then we need a send, some sort of send instruction. So let's save this as send. Should I call this send? Yeah, I'm just going to be redundant. Send instruction RB. Call this send. Oops, send. And initialize. Receiver message, and it has args, so give it args. Receiver message. In Ruby, everything is a sending of a message. So when you call a method, you're actually sending a message to an object. Sort of small talk nomenclature. Because you can actually intercept those messages and handle them differently. Okay, so args. So for, oops, don't know what that was. Process send. We want to break this apart into the receiver. Let me make sure. So the receiver, and then the message, and then this args object, args. And then I believe this is the block, which we're just going to ignore at first. More spam. Go away. Receiver message args block equals exp. Oh, really? Go away. How do you make it stop? Then we're going to do send instruction.new receiver message. Should I make these keyword arguments? How do you block? Yeah. Report. I can report it. Unwanted spam. I did that. Put user in timeout. Oh, well, that'll work. Hide user on this something. Oh, look. Well, now they're in timeout. The messages are hidden, and I've reported it. I guess that is what I have to do. Send instruction new receiver message args block. So for the args, we can just ignore this symbol because we want these individual items. So let's do this. Args. But I think we need to process them because we need those to become instructions. How are we going to do that? Do you perform message function resolution? Do you perform a lookup every time message is sent? Do you cache it? In our compiler right now, we have to look it up every time. We don't have a method cache, and that's something on the to-do list for 2022 is a method cache. It's going to give us some pretty dramatic, I think, some pretty dramatic speed up in our compiler. Once in the runtime, I should say. So I'm looking forward to that. We don't have that currently, so I'm not going to try to build it into the interpreter either. Receiver message args block. The args, I guess we need to process each one of those. Args. So that should fail now on the arguments, I think. Process value integer. Oh, that's a funny looking one, isn't it? Can I even make a method called that? Probably not. Well, let's just try it. I don't think that's going to work. We may have to go back to a lower pass and fix that. Def process. Yeah, I'm sure that's that's not going to work. I think there's a way to escape. Interesting. Can I get my browser up here? Oh. I think I know how. I think I can do define method and put that in a string and then use a block. Again, this is just an experiment. Ideally, this would come across in a better way. But I don't want to fix it right now, so I'm just going to try this. Process value integer. Oops. I guess sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm starting to rethink the way I'm doing these arguments. Should they just be pushed onto a stack? So I'm thinking I'll make a stack VM. Are they going to be pushed onto the stack, followed by some sort of number? Yeah, so I think that's really what I want to do. I don't think I want arguments here. Send instruction would just be the message. So quiet and thinking is fine to be expected. Oh, good. So what do you do in a VM for an object-oriented language? Do we push the individual arguments? So our stack is, it can be as big as we want. So we push, in this case, do we push the value 1, the integer 1, followed by the number of arguments, because we need to know how many. So that would be another 1. And then the receiver, just self. Then the message, which is P, the P message. Then we call the send instruction, or we process the send instruction. So let's just play with what that would look like in our little fake VM. Let's do a new file here. So push int 1, push int 1. So let me change this to 100. So let's say I want to print, I want to do print 100, like that. The instructions for that I'm going to get from pass 3, oh, it's back. It's back. Insert timeout. user. Good grief. I don't know how they do that. I guess I just have to have a moderator. I don't know. I'm going to make somebody a moderator. How do I do that? Add moderator. Valtteri, you're a moderator. If you're around and you want to block that, that's fine. Okay. So what I get from that is the integer 100. So it looks something like this. Push int 1, push symbol p, push self, call no. So let's see, how do I want to do that? Probably like this. I think that's the sort of instruction set I want to do. So you push an int, you push another int for the number of arguments. So if you were printing two numbers, you know, it would look like this, and this would be a 2. But we're just doing 1, so that would be a 1. Then you push self, then you call p on self with 1 argument, and the argument is 100. Maybe. Yeah, I did permanently ban them, but it's like they created another account or something. It's very weird. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. So I think this is what I want to produce. Oh, so not call. We'll call this send. Send p message. So this just got much simpler, didn't it? So, and we'll write code here to actually pop things off the stack. Will we? Will we do that? Maybe. Okay, send instruction. So this is just the message. So what I want this to produce is an array of instructions. I think. Process send. So push int instruction.new is, well, that won't come from here, will it? Args. So it's going to be this process arg plus that plus send instruction. Let's say instructions equals this. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the syntax right because it's going to bother me if it's weird. So instructions push self instruct. I'm just going to assume it's a self. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Process receiver followed by instructions. Oh, instructions push int instruction. This is the number of args. Push int process receiver send instruction new. Okay, I think that's the general flow of how that would work. This integer is going to be a push int instruction. Oh, I'm getting the hang of it here. Flow new, and this is going to be what does that push int look like? Just has the integer as the second argument. Int equals exp. Thank you, Valtteri. Thank you so much. You're doing the hero's work here. Int push int instruction. So now I need a push int instruction. So let's split that up. Save this as push int instruction rb push int instruction int base instruction push send instruction. Okay, we're also going to need a push self instruction. Push int. Save as, this will be push self. And call this one self. And this doesn't have anything really to do. That's fine. So So I have all of these now. Push int, push self, send. Was that all I needed? I have that one, and send. Cool. I can only time them out for 300 seconds. Good grief. YouTube, you need better controls for chat. This is insane. This is dumb. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for putting up with that. That's bad. So this is going to be the push int. I need something to do process self, I guess. Def process self is just going to be a push self instruction.new. So now, what happens if we run this? What kind of error do we get? Wrong number of arguments given 1, expected 0. Line 41. 41. That's here. Oh, right. So exp. Try that. Push int instruction. Oh, I need to require all of these. Instructions. Send instruction. Push int. Let's order these. Push self. Is that better? Identify method sex, but type for self symbol. Line 40. This we're just going to ignore. 40. Process receiver. Oh. Fascinating. Oh, it's just the colon self. Fascinating. So if the receiver is self, then do push self instruction.new, else raise I do not know how to handle, because I don't know what else comes in that receiver. So we'll just have a nice error for ourselves next time. I'm going to close all these other things. So now what happens? Does that mean we don't need this? Ooh, look at that. Okay, so push int for the 100, push int for the 1, because we have 1 argument, push self, and then send instruction of this isn't exactly what I wanted. Intern. For now we're going to ignore intern. Let's put these in order. Put that down there. Yeah, let's just ignore string interning, because I can come back and do that. Name equals exp, and we'll just return the name. Interesting. I'm not sure if that's actually right. Let's do it this way. This will blow up probably later, but I think it's always intern, so I'll just skip over that. Does this look better? So yeah, so now the message is just a P symbol. Oh, this is cool. This is so cool. Okay, well, do we have enough to build a VM from this? To use these instructions to build a VM? Maybe? I feel like we might. And we don't have to output any like bytecode from this because it's all going to be internal. I can just use the instruction objects themselves. If for whatever reason we wanted to output bytecode, mean, I could do it as I go, I guess. Instruction. So the send instruction def 2s. I could just make it 2s, and this would be send message. Yeah, I think so. And then the push int could be push int. I mean, this isn't really bytecode, right? This is more readable bytecode, but it might look cooler. Int. And then push self. Oops. Did I do it in the wrong place? No, I did that right. I did that right. Push self. Def 2s. Push self. So should I, in the compiler, nope, in bin Natalie, instructions, oops, instructions. So instead of printing these, I could do dot map to s and then do a puts. Does that make it look nicer? Yeah, it's kind of fun. At least it's something to look at. Push it 100, push it 1, push self, push p. I feel like I'm forgetting something though. Can I understand Natalie's source code without knowing a lot of Ruby? I think so. I don't know. I like to think Ruby is pretty easy to understand. I think you're going to learn. So I think you would learn Ruby as you go. That's a lot of the current contributors. I know Richard, I think Antonio and Richard both, they can correct me while they're not here. Anyway, I think they both have been learning Ruby as they go, but they already knew some C++, and so they were able to read the source code and go through it. The thing about implementing the specs, come on, there we go. The thing about implementing these specs, so like implement methods of string, as people have done this, they go and read the spec, which you have to add when you do this. So unary plus is one of the specs. So you have to read and go, okay, what does this do? That creates a string. And now we're working on this unary plus operator. What does that actually do? It makes the string not frozen anymore, which is pretty cool. And I didn't know until we added this spec that was even a thing. I didn't know you could do that in Ruby. So I'm definitely learning a lot about Ruby, and I know everyone who is contributing has learned a lot about Ruby as we've gone. And I don't know. I guess I should say you won't have a choice. You will learn Ruby if you contribute. There's really no way around it. So what do you think about writing a little VM that would interpret this? Think we can do it? I think we can do it. I feel good. So where do we want to put it? That's the question. So would it be in the compiler? Where else? I guess I could put it here. So that makes me want to move instructions out. So what if we make a directory for VM, and then we rename this to VM instructions? Yes. And that means over on compiler, no, that's not where it was. Pass 4i? That's where it was. Yeah. So I want to go up a directory. It'd be nice if I didn't have to do all of these. VM instructions. Yeah, let's just do VM instructions. Okay. Instructions RB. Module Natalie. Module, this will be class VM. No, I don't need any of that, do I? require relative instructions. Push self. Let's move this over here so you can see it. Push self instruction, push int instruction, and the send instruction. Those are our 3 instructions. We don't need base. So those are 3 instructions. So I need to go to send instruction and rename this to VM and do this on all of these. Recover, I guess. I don't know. There we go. VM doesn't like that I renamed those files. Oh, did that say read only? Okay, so that's a bad thing about Vim, right? Is sometimes I don't know why it does things. Push int. That one got changed. That one got changed. That one did not. That one did. Okay. Now I think we're getting somewhere. VM instructions. And this needs to be VM, 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 VM. Because now I have to prefix them. Did I break anything? Can I load file? Push int instruction. Why? Instructions RB. Because that's just a dot. There we go. So we didn't break anything. Let's push all this to the index so that I can not worry about breaking something. So I feel like we've made good progress. Push. Okay, so now I need a VM file, which I feel like I already made, but maybe I didn't. Oh, I made a VM directory, that's right. VM.rb. So module Natalie class VM. So this is going to be our little interpreter virtual machine. It's going to process the instructions one at a time. Initialize instructions, and I guess run. We'll call it run. So what I want, the code I want is that. But that obviously doesn't work. So I need in my compiler, no, where do I want to be? Then Natalie, let's move this over here. Compile line 59, compile C to binary. That came from 164. Compiler.compile. I'm just fully embracing the in the if if branches interpret, else if options interpret, then I think I still want this. Let's see if what that does. Oh, L. No. Oh, win. Oh, that's a win. Good grief. Options debug. Fascinating. Okay, I'm not in love with how I did this, but that's okay. So that means this can go up here, and this will be a to-do. Okay, what is happening? It's like it's trying to interpret this array as C code. But interpret, I spelled that correctly. What's high? Is that code even running? No. What's happening? Oh, compiler 164. 164. Okay. Compiler RB. Def compile. I don't want any of this stuff, do I? Compile. So many assumptions. Check build, write file, compile C to binary. All of this is going to be different. All of it. If interpret, to do, else. All this is going to get refactored. It's going to have to because this is just too much. But it's live and on board, so why not? Well, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, sorry, can't pronounce it. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. We are building a little virtual machine for our programming language, Natalie, which is a Ruby implementation. Natalie is a Ruby compiler, but I thought it'd be fun just to try to see if we could compile to our own instruction set and run it through a VM, because currently Natalie compiles to C++ and we run it with GCC, but I'm going to swap out that backend just temporarily for fun with our own little VM to see if that's even feasible. It's this sort of exploratory mode, and I'm already noticing that there's just a lot of if statements that I'm having to add here and there. And so that tells me anytime I have a bunch of ifs, that tells me that there's not a proper abstraction. We're missing some abstraction, and it's okay for now, but I will definitely want to come back and think about how this is structured and hopefully come up with something a little bit better. But for now, the if statements are okay. So this part is going to do something with instructions, I believe, because that's our new code. Let's just print it for now. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's good. And we got to there. So it's not crashing anymore. That's good. Sorry, I got a text. Hans Kamager? I don't know. I'm sorry. I try not to butcher people's names or online handles or any of that stuff. For compile. Yeah, I might have an interpret function. I might have an interpret function, but I mean, it really is. So compile is not wrong. It's not, because we are compiling it. But we need to compile it differently if we're in interpreted mode, because that pass4 of our compiler gets swapped out. So that's the dilemma, I think. And if statements aren't bad, and we will end up with a few here and there, but the fact that I'm having to add them everywhere is usually a bad sign. If interpret, then okay, so this works. We got the instructions. Now we need to store. We need to store them. That's right. Instructions. So we'll just store them here. And then we want to do vm.new compiler instructions. We can compile them on the fly. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to move this down here. Whoa. And so that means we don't even need this to change. Fix me. This is only used for CPP right now. I want to come back and work on that later. .run. So back to our VM. It's to do. So do we get to do? No, let's go to VM. Okay, Ben Natalie. I need to require lib Natalie RB. We'll just require the VM here. runner VM. Fascinating. Yeah, compile to bytecode. Bytecode is not exactly right because we don't really have a bytecode. It's, I mean, I guess you could call it bytecode, but they're just, it's just an array of objects internally. To me, when I think of bytecode is like this really compact thing that you could write to a file. But you know, maybe that's not right. Why is that not working? 139. Pin Natalie 139 right here. Wait, no. Run 139. Okay, yeah, I'll make a new moderator. Thank you, Valtteri. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Who's been here the longest? I don't know. If anyone wants to moderate, let me know. If no spam comes, then we're good. Compile options view. I don't understand that error because that does not seem to be the line number. That's here. Oh, 165. I'm a dummy. Okay, 165. So right here, vm.new. Is it nat? I have to namespace it, I guess. Oh, there we go. Yes. So instructions, each do instruction. I guess I'll just have a big case when statement. Ah, it's back. It's back. Timeout. Okay. So case instruction. When the instruction is ultimately right in some form or another, the push pop stack VM gets executed like bytecode unless there's something about push pop VMs I'm missing. Yeah. I think we're all using the same terminology. I was just hesitant to call it a bytecode because I don't intend to write it out to a file just yet. But I mean, it is. It's just in Ruby form, I guess. Yeah, I think we're saying the same thing. So when this is a push int instruction, so the question is, do I want the instruction itself to do the work? Why not, right? Why not? So what would that look like? Push int instruction. Execute, and we'll pass in the VM here. So what would this yeah, I guess I could just do a push int. So we don't need this case statement anymore. So let's do instruction.execute VM. So we'll put the work in each instruction. What are you yelling about? Okay. And what are you yelling about? 3 characters long. Says who? Method parameter must be 3 characters long. Who made that rule? I don't care. I'm not changing that. Obviously, Rubocop, my linter, is being a little bit overzealous, I think. VM tells me exactly everything I want it to say. VM push int. So we definitely need a push instruction, push object. So we need our stack. Stack. Oof. Stack. It's just going to be an array at stack object. AVM. Did I mistype something? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, AVM. AVM. Yeah, I can't do it. I think this is just fine. I can turn down Rubocop later. I think I can do Rubocop disable or something. Will that make it go away? I forget how to do that. Is it like no lint? Yeah, I'm just gonna change the config later to say I don't need Rubicop to yell at me about the length of my parameter names. VM push it. So that's gonna push the object, and I want to see the next error. Undefined local variable or method VM, and I'm in VM-RB line 10. Oh, right, because this is self. Undefined method execute for push self. Ah, good. Def push, oh no, execute VM. It'll be VM push. This one's gonna be harder because the VM's gonna have to keep track of self. And not this, this is self in context of my running Ruby process, but I mean the self inside the VM. So what is self? I'm gonna have to have a self. Fascinating. And in MRI Ruby, self is main, the main object. I think Ruby is it always main? Yeah, it's always main. I'm just gonna make a new object for now. Fix me should be main. Pointer problem I ran into. I don't know. I don't know what pointer problem you ran into. Self object new. So let's say that is self, and we'll have a push self as stack. Do I want that? Adder reader self. Adder accessor self. This is going to be push vm.self. Yes. Okay, what's our next error? Our next error is undefined method execute for send instruction. Okay, send instruction. Def execute VM. So this one is going to do some actual work. What's it going to do? It's going to, I need a pop. Def pop at stack.pop. I always get confused about which side things get pushed onto. So if I do 4 and then I do a.pop, I get the 4 back, right? Okay, just making sure. Execute, and just for consistency. Oh, what have I done? Send instruction. Accidentally closed that. Just for consistency, let's just call this .push. There we go. How do I represent a pointer in my evaluator problem? Yeah, I know we talked about it on Discord. I can't say that I fully understood what your dilemma was. I mean, we don't have raw pointers in Ruby, so maybe that's where I'm losing the context. So pop. So the last thing pushed. Oh, goodness. Sorry. Let's get back to here. So this is where we're at, and that is going to have a message. So I need to pop the receiver, then pop the argument count, then pop however many arguments there are. Okay, I can do this. So pop, let's say receiver equals vm.pop. Arg count is vm.pop. Arg count dot times. I'll say args is an empty array. Args vm.pop. We'll pop each arg, and then we want to do receiver.send. Oh, it's starting to make sense. Message with the arguments. Oh, is it going to work? I don't know. Okay, so that's our instruction set. This is it running through the VM, and it worked. Oh, that feels so good. 200. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, what else can I do? I can't really do anything else. I don't have strings yet. Ooh, could we add strings yet? Real quick. So process new. So back in our pass4i, we need some way to do process new and then print that because I don't actually know what comes from that. Instructions. Fascinating. Okay. Execute for array. So if a step returns nil, we kind of want to ignore that, I think. VM line 13. So the instructions, compiler, instructions, and gotta remember how to do this. Okay, back to here. I think I want to do compact. So compact will remove all the nils. Does that seem a little bit better? Okay. Wait, what? Why is that nil showing up? Fascinating. How did that slip through? It's not exactly what I expected, but okay, that's fine. Push int instruction. We're going to do save as push string instruction. String. Push string dot inspect, I think. Execute to do. Don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Well, yeah, I do. I'll just push the string like that. Easy peasy. It kind of makes you wonder if we really need separate instructions for push string and push int. Possibly not, but this is fine for now. Instructions RB. I might remove that later. Push string. And then this is going to be case. Actually, oh, I know where that was coming from. I'm just pretty printing it. Smart. So smart. Okay. So this is going to be, I mean, this is assuming C++. Oof, that's fine. Obj. Let's do this. XP. Case obj when the object is a string object, else raise I don't know how to handle new object inspect. I'll say I don't yet know. When it's a string object, we want to do VM push string instruction dot new with args dot first. Is that right? Something tells me that's not quite right. I need to get the second part of that. This is going to be a little gross, but I think that'll work. What's with the 2? Oh, that's just the length. Interesting. That's going to be important, so fix me handle length. Because we're just going to ignore that for now. And assume it doesn't have any null terminators in the middle or anything weird. Maybe, actually, may not be a problem. In IRB, if I do foo bar, that just works. Interesting. Okay, we'll do maybe handle length. Okay, string object, because this is obj stir length equals exp. Okay. And let's just use this. Stir. Useless assignment to variable length. Yeah, I know. I'm not using that yet. That's okay. Push string instruction. Push string. Oh, that still doesn't look quite right, does it? Got to destructure that a little bit. Had a thought. How does Ruby handle things like strings if it doesn't have pointer access or math? Well, I guess it's all handled internally because in Ruby, if I have a string that says hello world and I do s, I can offset into that with an index and get an individual character, and that is all I need. And in the Ruby semantics and the Ruby language, I don't need any pointer arithmetic or mathy kind of stuff because I have these indexes. And I mean, you could call that a pointer offset or something, but that's all handled internally. And from my perspective as a user, that's just an index offset into the number of characters. Is it characters or bytes? I actually don't remember now. I think this is characters. So if I do hello, I don't know how to type emojis on Linux. Emoji smiley face or something. What's one that I'm sure is got multiple bytes? Let's copy that. So S chars, S bytes are different. There's more bytes than characters. There's 10 bytes and only 7 characters. So let's do this. S 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I get that character? Yes. I don't get the individual byte. I get the characters. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's how Ruby handles it. So does this look right? That looks right. Does this run? It does. Well, there you go. I think I'm going to call it good here. I'll just go over kind of what we did and maybe we'll commit it. Add all that. We built a little tiny VM. We built some instructions, push string, push self, push int, and send. So we can do P2. P is just the print function in Ruby. So I can print an integer or I can print a string. And what that produces is this little, we'll call it bytecode. It's not compact or anything, but it's our own internal instruction set that runs through the VM. And the VM looks like this. Very, very small because I delegated all the work back to the instructions themselves. Each instruction class knows how to, what it looks like as, when it's printed out, like here. And it also knows how to execute itself on the VM or how to do whatever it needs to do. So the biggest one being the send instruction pops some things off the stack and then calls send on the receiver. This is a big, I'll have to think about this some more, this self object, because I think that needs to be something a little bit different. What does that need to be? I mean, maybe we'll have our own like main object.new here so that we can control how that behaves. Because I don't think we want it to be the same main as the VM. I think it needs to be a separate object, but I'll have to think about that a little bit. So the thing about the VM where we have a self, we may have to keep some sort of context of what the self is. Let's see, if you call a method, or if you call a method on an object, the self should change. Yeah. So anyway, lots of stuff to figure out. This is getting fun. This is getting really cool. But I had a lot of fun building this. So the big work was in pass4i, which we created in this stream, which compiles the instructions not to C++ like we traditionally have done, but compiles it to our own internal instruction set. So all in all, not a ton of code here. I'll just look through the diff real quick. Some of this I'm not proud of. Like this stuff is kind of gross. You can delegate them to their specific classes because they are self-evaluated, right? Yeah, that sounds right. Interpret. I mean, there's the other approach, right, which is the VM has a big case statement and it switches on the instruction type and it does it inside the VM, which I've done it that way before too. And I may end up going that way, but I wanted to try it this way first. Yeah, not a ton of code. We're going to commit this. Hopefully I didn't break. Let's just run some of the tests real quick. It takes oh boy, I did break something. Good grief. What have I done? Instructions, undefined method compact. Oh, you can't call compact. I need to get rid of that compact thing. Compact, where was that? That was here. Yeah, we can't do that. Still broken. Clean build. Did I break? Yeah, what have I done? What is this? Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought I got rid of that. Compiler RB 139. That's right there. I just got rid of that. Okay, losing my mind. Love the project and impressive Vim skills. Well, thanks, Arthur. Appreciate it. Although right now I'm struggling a little bit. So I can't get this to stop. Undefined method compact. Compiler RB 139. I'm looking at it right there. 139. Am I on the wrong? Okay, hold on. Compiler RB 139. Okay, I could have swore I removed that. You saw me remove it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what just happened. This seems to be working now. Okay, cool. Break. Let's just run a few of the tests. I won't make you sit through all of them running. It takes a long time on my slow machine while I'm streaming. But as long as I can see some of them passing, I'm good. Yeah, I really deleted it and I hit save. I don't know. I wonder, sometimes in Vim, if I use the fugitive get client and I go to a diff, it looks like I'm in the file, but I'm actually in a diff of the file. And so I might not have been editing the actual file. That might have been the issue. So it looks like 5 of the specs have passed. This tells me how long it's going to take, but it's usually not that long. It's more like 20 minutes. This is looking promising. I think we're okay. I think if I had broken something, it would have broken every test, not just 1 or 2. So, start work on a interpreter VM. On an interpreter and push. Well, that's it. That's the stream. Thanks for everybody who stopped by. I think that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed chatting with everyone, all except for the spammers. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for just always being an encouragement and always, anyone who's lended a hand, I think is huge, but also encouraging words mean a lot to me too. So just remember, there's always a person on the other end of any chat system or discussion board or Hacker News or whatever. I think as long as you remember that, then I think we all can be pretty civil and encouraging and uplifting. And I think that's a pretty important part of being online and making friends. I don't know. So I enjoy making lots of friends over the last year. Natalie's been an amazing project, and people have been just fantastic. So thank you to all of you, and I guess I'll see you in another stream sometime. Bye.